So if any of you follow me on social media, you already know I've had about the craziest week ever. This all started with a late night message from a friend of mine. He forwarded me a post of another Instagram user, and I don't follow this guy. I don't know him in any way. I tried messaging him, but I'm sure it went to requests and he didn't see it. He did give a little detail, the park, he tagged the park in it, and he posted some other pictures, one of which was a wheelchair down a dirt road. So coincidentally, I had to go over to my doctor to have my stitches removed out of my hand, and it's right by that park. On my way back from the doctor, I decided to just cruise around the park, see if I could identify anything that he snapped pictures of. It's a pretty big park, so I wasn't that hopeful that I would find anything. It's 650 acres, but it only has a couple roads that go through it. And honestly, at the most, I thought maybe I was going to get some Slingerland parts drums. I didn't know what condition they were in. I figured the shells were roached, just from being out in the weather for so long. So I came in one entrance of the park. I circled around the reservoir real slow. I walked down a couple paths. I didn't see anything. So I pretty much given up. I went to go out the back exit to the park, and something just told me to turn around and circle back once more slowly. So when I turned around, it brought me to a different fork in the road. And just as I was at the fork in the road, I spotted this wheelchair that the guy had posted. I start walking up the path, and there they are. I see the red sparkle Slingerlands. I'm like, wow, this is amazing I even found them. So then I look over to the right a little bit, and my jaw just hit the floor. There was a amber Vistalite bass drum and an amber Vistalite floor tom just sitting there. Like I said, I had just come from my doctor's appointment, them removing my stitches, and they said not to cover it, but then if I was going back to work and it was getting dusty, to cover it. And here I am tromping through the woods looking for drums, and I found them. It's a beautiful park. It's got a bad reputation, and for good reason. There is a lot of stuff that goes on out there, drug dealing, and hookers bring their johns out there. There's been bodies found. There's been people attacked. So it's not the safest park in the world. It's in a city not far from me. The park's super sketchy. I just wanted to get in and out of there real fast, because you don't know. There's also homeless people that camp out in this park. And the last thing I wanted to do was run into some mentally ill homeless person or a group of them and get into some trouble. I was only one-handed. I didn't have any protection on me at all. I had a bunch of money on me, stupidly. But like I said, I wasn't really prepared. I was just coming back from my doctor's appointment and decided on a whim to check this place out. So I grabbed my truck. I backed it all the way down this dirt road, probably a quarter of a mile. So you couldn't see them from the road. And like I said, it's disgusting. People illegally dump down this road all the time for some reason. And I can't believe nobody else took these. I don't know how long they've been sitting there, but judging from the condition, the hoops on the Vistalite were well weathered from sunlight and just being out in the elements. I would have been happy with just some Slingerland parts drums, but seeing the amber Vistalites, I almost had a heart attack. My jaw hit the ground, and I actually was saying stuff out loud, even though I was the only one out in the woods by myself. I wasn't that worried about the cops, even though I'm not sure I was supposed to drive down that road. The cops could have pulled up and just gave me a hard time. They could have thought I was dumping the drums out there. Driving down that road I wasn't supposed to. They wouldn't have arrested me or anything, I'm sure, but it would have been a hassle. It would have taken time to get my license and registration, all that stuff. So I load everything up in my truck and I get the hell out of there. But in the meantime, over the last couple of days, it's been killing me that I looked a little bit past the floor tom. The bass drum to the Vistalite and the floor tom were pretty far away, and I had this feeling in my gut that I probably left that 13 out there. I went about 50 feet past the floor tom, and I didn't see anything. So the following day, I was still thinking about going back. The day after that, it was really lousy out. It was cold and rainy and sleety. I wasn't going tromping through the woods looking for drums in that kind of weather. The day after that, so this is 3 days after I originally found the bass drum and the floor tom, I went back. And I actually did shoot some footage, and I'll pop that in. So when I went back, I was just amazed. I couldn't believe what I found. All right, I'm back at the scene of the crime, scene of the rescue of the drums. Somebody's been here because that wheelchair is now gone. But look at this. Holy crap. I just couldn't let it go that there might be other pieces here. And would you look at that? So now that I got all the other stuff, I have a little more time to look around. You look up this place online, don't let the pictures fool you. This park can be pretty dangerous. You look at that, the snare. I didn't see this the first time, so that's why I'm back. It was just such a crazy situation, and I'm still only one-handed. I got that gouge, the stitches healing up. Oh my God, this gives me hope. Maybe the tom's here. The snare was down here. I didn't see the tom. I just had a feeling in my stomach that if I didn't come back and look, it could be just sitting here. And where the floor tom was so far away from the bass drum, it was like somebody was gonna carry them away, but changed their minds. Look at all the trash around here. This is gross. So yeah, I was thinking maybe they, the two drums together were too heavy, so they just dropped the floor tom. So we're coming up to where all the other drums were. There's that black bass drum. I don't want to step on any nails. Good thing is they're orange, so it'll stick out. But I just don't see it. But I'm gonna go further past where the floor tom was. There's that other piece of junk bass drum. I think it's like an SLP or something, an old off-brand. So this is about where I found the floor tom. There's just so many piles of trash around here. It could be under something else. Somebody could have just taken it. I mean, for all I know, it could be under a big pile of leaves. Alright, I'm going to shut this off. I'm going to try to get around this big mud hole. We had a ton of rain last night. Alright, so this is insane. I found the tom. Would you look at that? Looks like some homeless were camping out here. Maybe they were just doing a little drum circle. Would you look at that? alarm in it, but I have one of those. Sweet. All right. So this is probably, I don't know, maybe like a half a mile off the road. Definitely a couple hundred feet from where the set was. But unbelievable. And the snare. So now I have a complete set, and this has the sticker on it too. Look at the ice on it. Unbelievable. All right, I want to get the hell out of here while I'm still alive. So I got the snare and the tom and got the hell out of there. And I never plan on going back to this place. Like I said, this park is super sketchy. Now people, when I posted this online, were coming to the conclusion, a few people at least were saying that they were probably stolen. So if somebody stole these, it doesn't make sense for them to drive them a quarter of a mile out in the woods and dump them. They would have definitely brought them to one of the half a dozen pawn shops in the city. The other clue was there was a ton of household items around there. Tables, bed frames, mattresses, this and that. So what I'm thinking is this city is filled with a bunch of what they call triple deckers apartments. It's like 3 apartments stacked on top of each other. A ton of other apartments, a ton of old abandoned houses or just rundown houses. There's a bunch of slumlords over there. It used to be a booming city back in when the shoe industry was thriving. But ever since then, since probably the 70s, it's just completely gone downhill and it's really rough. So what I'm thinking is one of these landlords hired a couple of guys to clean out an apartment or a house. And instead of going to the dump and paying a fee, they brought them out here and illegally dumped them and saved the money, pocketed the money they were going to get for the dump fee. So that happens all the time over there. And I'm sure in any major city or smaller cities, probably all over the country, people are just slobs and just want to throw stuff out in the woods instead of actually just paying to get rid of it. It's really infuriating. And regardless of how they got out there, they were out there. And they were out there for a good amount of time. And I found them. So by law, finders keepers, right? Anyways, that's what I'm going with. I found them. They're mine now. So now let's check out what I got. So here's the Slingerlands, the ones I saw that I was originally going out there for. These are all I saw in the picture. I had no idea there were any Vistalites out there at all. So I'm kind of surprised at how decent the hardware is. There's a little bit of rust here and there. But there's definitely some salvageable hardware on there. The hoops really aren't bad. So some of the lugs are questionable here and there, but I mean, I got basically 60 lugs, 3 chrome hoops, T-rods. The claws are a little rusty. The spur mounts are good. The floor tom leg brackets are good. All the tone controls are in them. So, and there's 4 black and gold badges. I would have been ecstatic with just this find. Pots are really expensive for vintage drums, so anytime I can get some free pots drums, I'm all about it. Unfortunately, the shells are trashed. I'll pop in some pictures. You can see there was a solid chunk of ice in this bass drum. So again, I'm guessing this was an apartment or a house clean out. And I've gotten sets like that before. I bought actually that Gretsch round badge I bought from a guy that does house cleanouts. He also had another Gretsch WMP set. You'd be surprised at what people leave behind, or they don't pay their rent, they get evicted, and just life happens. So they have to get out of there real quick and they just leave stuff behind. I've seen a ton of it. I did house cleanouts a long time ago. So you can see these shells are just trashed. Even the ones that look pretty salvageable, there's all kinds of ply separation and re-ring separation. This floor tom is just, it's bad. and the bass drum. So these have been out there for a while. This doesn't just happen overnight. So we'll move on to what people really want to see, these amber Vistalites. I'm still in shock myself. I can't believe these things were out there. I'll spare you guys the footage of me trying to clean these things the best I can one-handed. All I've done is soap and water so far, and I soaked like the T-rods in Evapor Rust. But what I'm probably going to end up doing is just putting these together exactly like I found them, minus the dirt and all that stuff. And I'll do a full restoration on them at a later date. I really have to get that Silver Sparkle Gretsch Round Badge done when my hand's better, because that will be going up for sale. This set I am definitely keeping. Not only the story, just it's just a beautiful set, and it's so original. Even has the stickers still on them. It had all the original Rezo heads. The bass drum had the original heads on it. Somebody did replace the batter heads with black dots. So now we'll show you these. So it's a 13, 16, 22 with the rail mount, super classic setup. I was going back for the tom. I couldn't believe I actually found the snare too. I had no idea any of this stuff was out there. I was hopeful I could find the tom, but then as soon as I walk in and I noticed the wheelchair was gone, I looked over that way and I saw this orange thing sticking out of some leaves and stuff down by a little river. It was just crazy. Like, if I didn't see this stuff for myself, I wouldn't believe it. I mean, look at these hoops. They'd been out there so long that they actually weathered, and the inlays are washed out from the sun. Unfortunately, the bass drum hoops are pretty trashed, so I'll have to do new hoops on it, and unfortunately I can't save these silk inlays, these gold silk inlays. In the meantime, in between finding the bass drum and the floor tom, I wasn't positive I was going to go back. I wasn't sure it was worth the risk of running into a homeless encampment or anything like that. So in the meantime, I ended up ordering a tom to go with it from RCI. Romano there is a great guy. I've bought off him before. Super knowledgeable on Vistalites. He determined these are 72 to 73, a real early run of them, maybe the first production run of them, which is just insane that this set was just sitting out in the woods, left for dead. If I didn't get it, it would have been in far worse condition by the time the next person found it. So I'm just happy to have saved them. So I'm just amazed at the condition these drums are in for being out there so long. They were probably just thrown in the pile, but there is zero cracks on them. Like I said, this has just been soap and water. I haven't hit them with novice or any kind of polish just yet. They're just in great condition. They were just dirty. Besides the hoops are trashed. They're pretty rusty. And I'm gonna clean them up for now and just put them back on there. Just so it's a complete set. I like having all the parts together so I don't lose anything. So you can see there's a little bit of rust on the back of that washer. The only thing I took off, I did take off the rail mount and soak that in Evapor Rust. It really wasn't that bad, but it was kind of bugging me and something easy to do. And the other thing is, these were complete. So all the floor tom legs were there, the spurs. The only thing that was missing was this L-arm. I never did find that. So if you made it this far in the video and you enjoy this type of content, please like, subscribe, and comment. I really appreciate it, and thanks to all my subscribers. If you want to get notified when I post a new video, hit the bell. So I had some 70s Ludwig hoops down in the cave with gold sparkle inlays. I thought they'd be appropriate until I could find some gold silk wrap. Chances are pretty unlikely. It was discontinued in the 70s. But I have found scraps to make inlays for hoops out of in the past. So never give up hope. Really unbelievable how good a condition this is in. I mean, there's some scratches and some scuffs, and they need to be polished. All the chrome needs to be polished. Little bit replaced here and there. The hoops definitely need to be replaced. They look better, but not good enough for this set. You can see the snare drum, the hoop. What I did was I just cleaned up all the heads that were originally on it, or on it when I found it. They were pretty disgusting, but I did manage to clean them all up. So like I said, I'm gonna do a full restoration on this set. So I didn't feel the need to do brand new heads right now. This is just kind of for me to keep all the parts together, keep the set together, so when I do a full restoration, I have everything. That's also the original front head too. The only thing I couldn't save was the batter head on the bass drum. All the other heads, what came on it, I just cleaned them. They were filled with mud and dirt and everything else in the rings, but I got it all out. So anyways, thanks for watching and take care.